It's September 13th, 2022. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm here at the Great Harbor Marina, headed over to my 1972 Allied Princess Sequester. And as you might be able to tell from what's behind me, I don't think I'm going to take the boat out today. I'll give you a better picture in a second to explain why not. But it's a cool day. It's in the middle 60s today, and it's supposed to rain later today, probably start in a couple hours. And until then, we have essentially no wind at all. As you can see, let's look at the water. Here we're looking out one of the fairways in the marina, and you can see it's flat calm in here. I think you can see that. You can also see the main reason that I'm not going to take the boat out is that it is just a tiniest bit on the foggy side. As you can see over there, we're looking south from the marina, and you can probably hear a chainsaw over there. That's somebody on the far shore of Southwest Harbor, about 3/8 of a mile away, but you can't see it today. So let's walk out and take a look from the end of the dock out here. While we're doing it, I think we'll talk a little bit about some of the boats and the style of RVing that people do on the water, because these are, after all, almost all recreational vehicles. Okay, we'll look over at B dock, where the sort of smaller liveaboards are, and there are a lot of liveaboards here in the summer. That's a Fleming 55 and a Nordhaven 47. That's another Nordhaven. I'm guessing that one's about somewhere in the upper 60s, maybe 72. Over here we got some day boats. This is a Hinckley jet boat right here. It's about a 40-footer. These have kind of minimal accommodations. They're really sort of boats for going picnicking. And then over there we have some smaller powerboat and a few sailboats. A couple of the sailboats are big enough. No, one of the sailboats is big enough for you to go out for a weekend. Looks like a Hinckley Bermuda 40 sloop. And then there are some other small sailboats. They're mostly day sailors. And on this dock we've got a few other somewhat bigger boats. This is about a 55 or 60-foot sailboat here, and certainly that one's big enough to go on longer trips. And there are a bunch of boats that look like this, and to be honest, I have no idea what this one is. Here we have a Hinckley Talaria 55, which is got nice accommodations. If you want to go for a weekend or a week aboard this boat, you could, although mostly it gets used for day cruises. And here's a little Sabre, Sabre line 34 fast trawler, and that one is a liveaboard. And here we have another little boat that mostly gets used for day sailing. This is a Hinckley Southwester 70 Catch. This is a nice boat, a little bit old, and it's a little over about 20 years old. It's across from the Marine, which has been here the last couple of summers. It's a nice little cruiser if you want to go on a little bit longer trip. This is a steel boat, although you'd never guess it looking at the hull. It's completely smooth, perfect. And this is 130 foot, cruiser, and it is from 1930. And out here we have a Lobster Boat, which is one of the few commercial boats out here. Over there on the right is another Nordhaven. It's about another 65 to 70 footer, and a power boat, a more modern style one. I have no idea what it is. And we'll look at this sailboat out here and see what it looks like. As usual, unless you really know the detail of the cove stripes, boats like this are very difficult to put a name on, because the higher end sailboats almost never have the company name anywhere on the boat. This one looks like about a 60 footer, right off. I don't know what it is. It's a nice little boat though, certainly capable. Anywhere you want to go, this sailboat will take you. It's got a leisure furl in boom mainsail furler, and yeah, can't tell what brand of Genoa furler it's got there. Pretty well equipped. Lots of big winches. 6 of them there. And they're all either electric or hydraulic. So a nice boat to go anywhere you want. Very pretty teak cabin house, and I bet it's pretty nice down below. Their varnish even looks pretty good. Of course, here's a lobster boat and another lobster boat. A lot of the lobstermen have come in for the day already, because it is, although it's calm, visibility is a little bit limited. Even the cormorants aren't flying around. I don't know if you can pick them out in this weather, but there are a bunch of them on the ledge over there. And we're getting hit by a wake from a passing lobster boat. This wake is moving the dock around, so I don't want to go right to the edge. So this represents a reasonable cross section of the sort of boats we have here at the marina during the typical summer. We're getting a little late in the season, so a fair number of the bigger boats that were here at various times this summer have gone and are no longer in the water, or have gone south. So things are quieting down. I don't know when we're going to get out on Sequester again, because there's a good view of Marine, which is a beautiful yacht. I really like these older yachts much more than modern ones. But as I started to say, I don't know when I'll get Sequester out again, because, well, the next few days are supposed to be sunny and have pretty nice temperatures, but it's supposed to be windy. I mean, we're looking at gusts up into the 30 knot range, which, you know, is a little more than I like to sail in these days. So I just thought I'd show you what this sort of RVing is like. Now, these bigger boats are mostly owned by comparatively well-to-do people. I mean, this one, this Hinckley Sou'wester 70, probably represented $6 or $7 million new. Although when these are for sale now, the asking prices are only in the 4 to 5 million range, so you can pick one up pretty cheaply. This boat, as you might expect, is fully ocean capable. You can take it anywhere you want. Now, a boat like Marine here is a little different. This boat underwent a major refit a few years ago to make it look like this, and I'm guessing this is probably a $15–20 million boat. So you know, if you're retired, living on Social Security and a small pension, you're maybe not going to want one of those. Same goes with this Hinckley Talaria 55. That's about a $6–8 million boat. On the other hand, something like this Sabre line is a relatively inexpensive boat. It's probably about 30 years old, maybe a little older. And you can probably pick one of those up for $70,000 to $80,000. And this boat, I have no idea. I don't know what it is, but this is probably at least $1 million boat. And then, of course, there's this guy. This is a 146 footer. Quite a comfortable boat if you want to spend a little time aboard. If you want to cross the Atlantic or anything like that, this boat can certainly do it. But I have no idea what one of these costs. Probably at least 25 or 30 million. Pretty expensive little toy. Especially since I believe this boat has something like 7 or 8 full-time crew. In fact, there's a crew member right there, walking the dock and looking like he's getting ready to hop aboard. Well, no. Might be just another dock walker like me. Yep. That bigger Nordhaven over there is, you know, $2 to $3 million boat. The small one, you can pick one of those up for $800,000 or $900,000. And that Fleming 55, you can pick one of those up if they've been built for a long time, back into the late 80s. You can pick up a late 80s vintage one for maybe as little as $500,000. The new ones run a couple of million. So you can see the Marine RVing is a little bit on the pricey side. And up here, where Sequester is, we have a much more reasonable selection of boats. The boat on the left side of the image there, named Pleasure, is a Grand Banks 36. Those have been built for quite a long time, since the 60s, and their prices range from you know, less than $50,000 for a wooden boat from the 60s to as much as $250,000 for a newer one. But you can pick up a pretty decent one for $150,000. Next to it is an Ellis 36. These boats are still being built right here in Southwest Harbor, about a mile from where I'm standing right now. They'd be behind me though, and these it really depends. They've been built for a long time, and it really depends on how old the boat is. And this is a nice little day boat. You can weekend on it. This is a Dyer 26. Most Dyer 26s are what are called express cruisers. They basically have an open cockpit, no upper cabin, just with canvas over, and these typically run in the 50 to 70K range. That boat there is the Alice E. It's an 1899 Friendship sloop. Friendship sloops are fairly common around here, and you can pick one up in fiberglass for anywhere from about $30,000 up, depending on the size and condition. There's a lot of variability, and I have no idea what this boat would sell for because it is a vintage boat, but it's because it's used for cruises with tourists, unless the weather is like this, several times a day. It's maintained in basically almost perfect condition, so potentially a lot of money for a boat like that. Here's a little wooden cruiser, another boat that you could weekend on. Have a V-berth down below and a little galley and a head, and that's about it. And wooden boats like this, again, the price varies all over the place. It depends totally on the condition of the boat, how it's powered, diesel or gas. I believe this one is a gas engine, and that tends to represent a lower price boat. Then we've got a couple of Lobster Yachts. These are boats that are built basically on a lobster boat hull. They'll have a nice upper cabin. Down below they'll have a head, maybe a galley and a V-berth. And they are, you know, relatively quick. They'll run up to about 15 knots. And depending on who built the boat and how old it is and how it's powered, these boats in the, say, 30-foot to 35-foot range, like this one is, can range anywhere from as little as 40 or 50,000 up to several $100,000. This is a semi-custom Malcolm Pettigrew boat built here in Southwest Harbor. It's a very nice boat, and a boat like this is probably in the 150 to 200K range because it is a semi-custom boat. In other words, the company owns molds for the hull and cabin house, and everything else is however you want it when you get it built. And then we've got a few smaller boats, little gasoline powered boats. This is an Allura 27. I'm not familiar with them. And boats like this can be quite reasonable. This is a Sabre 34 sailboat. There are lots of these around. Sabre built hundreds of these, and this one's a fairly old one. I believe it's an 81, and it's for sale, and I think they're asking $29,500. Sailboats in general for a given size are considerably cheaper than power boats. We've got a couple day boats here in the 27-28 foot range. These are basically your go fast boats. Go out, just cruise around the harbor, go fishing, and come back. They don't have any accommodations. Sometimes in these T-top type boats, they will have a little compartment with a head underneath the T-top, but not always. And here's another Lobster Yacht. Again, this one, as usual, has no indication of who the builder is. It's a nice boat. And one like this, a boat like this, probably looking at 200K. And prices for boats are extremely variable depending on what exactly you're looking at. For example, this is a Hinckley Talaria 29R. It's a runabout. It does have a low headroom cabin underneath the foredeck, but it's basically a day boat. And these boats, depending on how old it is, they've been built for about 20 years, will set you back anywhere from about 250 to 300K for an older one to a little over $1 million for a new one. So wide range of prices. And here is a newer cruiser. This is an American Tug 34. It's a very comfortable cruiser, about a 12 to 15 knot boat, and they're built on the West Coast in Washington State. Very nice little boat. No on-deck wood, which makes it low maintenance. And these boats are probably, a new one is probably closing in on $500,000, if not more, and you can pick up a used one for 300K or so. They have not been built that long, so prices tend to be a little high. Let's walk out. I want to see how big this larger Nordhaven is. Nordhavens have their size on the bow. So if you walk by and take a look at the bow, you can see how big the boat is. They have a little stainless steel plate with a number on it, which is the length of the boat. As I said, the first one is a 47. You can see N47 on that stainless steel plate. And this boat is a liveaboard. The people bring it here every year and spend the summer here living on the boat. And this bigger one is, I was guessing upper 60s to 72. It's a Nordhaven 68. So this is a much bigger boat, very comfortable, lots of room down below. And Nordhavens, especially one like this, are all ocean capable, and they have transatlantic range. Well, I was doing a nice walk around at the marina. I didn't notice that at some point the camera quit. So anyway, I'm not going to do it again. I don't know where it quit. But if you enjoyed this little look at some of the boats that are here in the middle of September in Southwest Harbor, Maine at the Great Harbor Marina, hope you found it pleasant on a foggy day here on the coast of Maine. And hopefully we won't have too many more days like this fall. It's pretty damp right now. My shirt is quite damp just from walking around, so I'm gonna quit and head home where I can dry out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and why don't you consider subscribing to my channel.